Today's show feels like one of those, wait, what just happened? It's kind of those days. So, asylum paused, Afghan visas frozen, green cards being rechecked, and now talk of a travel ban for up to 30 countries. I think there's so much to talk about today, and I'm very glad that you have joined us here on Immigration Talk Show. I'm Nipasa. I'm going to be your host for this whole session today, and we have an important discussion lined up. You can see the topic on the screen already. Is the US preparing for the largest travel ban expansion in history? What could it mean for immigrants from 30 countries? You can share your views in the comments wherever you're watching. We are streaming live right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you can also check us out on X and on Instagram. So feel free to comment and be a part of this conversation. You can also join us on call on the number which you can see above. The number is 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988-888. And today's discussion is going to be important, and we have this disclaimer to keep in mind throughout this whole session. And that is, by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. Use of information is at your own risk. And we are going to be updated on the latest things that's happening right now, especially with the travel ban. I know it's sometimes very hard to keep ourselves updated with all of it, but to help us through all of the updates, the latest ones to keep in mind, especially if you are, navigating your H-1B visa or your H-4, stay with us. We are going to be joined by our guest, but for today, Gabriella, who is an immigration attorney at Berardi Immigration Law with a practice spanning both business and family-based filings. And she counsels multinational corporations on workforce movement across borders, guiding executives and HR professionals through the complex world of visas and compliance. So, friends, without further ado, please help me welcome Attorney Gabriella Agostinelli. Hi, Gabriella. Good to have you back.
Thank you for having me.
Wow. I mean, we were just chatting before the show started. There's so much happening here in US immigration, and the latest update since we last spoke, I think it's almost a month now. So much has happened.
So much has happened. And this past week it's been a real doozy. Every day I come to work with this administration, there's something new. But this week was a really big week that sadly was kicked off by the unfortunate attack on the National Guard by an Afghan national. And there really are four big things that have happened this week that are a direct response to that shooting. The first is that all affirmative asylum cases, meaning those asylum applications that are being applied for outside the immigration court system, have been put on a pause, regardless of country of origin. Those cases are just going to be sitting now until further notice. The second big thing is that at this point in time, all benefits applications for those from the existing 19 travel ban countries are also going to be paused. And when I say benefits applications, I'm talking about things like employment authorization documents, adjustment of status filings, removals of conditions on your green cards, green card replacement filings, and the rest is a bit unclear, additional form types that might be impacted, but those are all going to be paused if you are from one of those countries. And then finally, and perhaps the scariest of all of the items on the list regarding those 19 countries, is that the government will be engaging in a re-review of all people from those countries who have already received their green card. which means that there's a whole host of people who are terrified in this country right now, that they thought they got over that massive mountain by getting that green card and finally feeling settled. Well, it turns out they can't, because now the government's going to be running additional security checks on them. And then the last thing that's come up since yesterday is that the Department of State has announced that it will also be engaging in additional vetting procedures for H4 and H1B visa holders, to ensure that all of their materials are being scoured on social media or their entire online presence, to ensure that they are not a national security risk to the United States and that they are a trustworthy character to be allowed admission to the United States.
I know so much to just take in, and it's this whole year is it has been really scary, I think I could say, for many immigrants out there. So much has happened, and one thing or the other always leads to fear. Sometimes it's the media over exaggerating, but now with this, it's crazy ridiculous, right? Like, first it was the F1 students going through it. Now, how will you know what did you like or post even a year back?
Right,
I don't remember what I did last week because now we are all in the habit of scrolling. We just whatever comes into the feed, you're just watching, and sometimes you just double tap.
right,
We
right,
can't keep track of our double taps.
right. And the thing is, the government is now using AI to scour through all these social media channels. So if you said anything that could trigger a review, it can be detrimental to your continued ability to live and work in the United States.
So, friends out there, I hope you're taking note of all these updates and making sure that you're overly careful, especially with regard to your social media accounts. And yes, now without further ado, though, let's get into our questions and the topic that we are here to discuss. So much to talk about. But also quickly, I would say hello to all viewers. Sid Mohan, nice to have you back. Thank you so much for joining us with your questions. We will take up your questions. So keep commenting, everyone, and do share with your friends and folks who could benefit from this session as well. Talking about asylum, Gabriella, why was, the asylum process frozen? Security concerns or political reaction to the shooting? What do you think?
Well, my own 2 cents is that there's been a concerted effort by this administration from the very beginning to remove all humanitarian programs in terms of immigration to the United States, little by little. We've already seen halt of processing of asylum benefits earlier in the year. We've seen removal of refugees or the pause of refugees being able to come to the US, the ending of TPS from various countries, the end of the CHNV program to the United States. I think this unfortunate shooting has been just one more linchpin for the government to finally say, oh, see, this is what happens when we give benefits to individuals. And it just gave more fuel to their fire of being able to make it more difficult for those asylees in the United States. But I also think, yes, this was also a direct retaliation as a result of the shooting, for sure.
Really hope it was not planned by the government. I just saying, but you never know. A lot to think. A lot has been happening. So, what happens now to applicants who, already completed their interviews and their cases are stuck indefinitely? They were almost getting there and now they just have no hope anymore.
So this goes for both the asylees and for those who are in the middle of the benefit, the applications for benefits in the United States, like the green card or removal of conditions or replacements, whatever. Um, they're just going to sit. They're going to sit. There's been no confirmation about you can't. There's been nothing saying you can't submit if you're from one of these countries. There's nothing saying we're canceling them. There's nothing saying we're denying them. It's just basically said they've been halted indefinitely, and you can just wait your turn until something comes out the other side.
Okay, let's take that clearly and know that that is the update for now. Also, we have we don't know since it's indefinite. We don't know how long this pause is going to be lasting, and could this signal like a much larger crackdown on asylum?
Oh, I think so. I think definitely this is just added fuel to the fire. Asylum has always been remarkably difficult to obtain. It's a very high threshold for evidencing that somebody deserves a green card based on seeking asylum in the United States. And I think we already are in an incredibly unfriendly environment for immigrants in this country. We have a huge lack of immigration judges, an even bigger lack of educated immigration judges, meaning those who actually are immigration judges and not those from other fields who have been forced into or have volunteered to be an immigration judge at this time. The whole thing is a mess, really.
Well, I think we can only foresee a lot more problems. I was thinking, at least by the end of the year, I mean, now that we had Thanksgiving and all that, but things would get lighter, but it's only getting heavier. So don't really know what's going to happen. And for, how much longer can delays realistically stretch for applicants who have already waited?
Oh, Nipasa, the answer to that question, God only knows. But it's there are things that have happened in this administration that I have said, oh, this is never going to last. And look at the $100,000 rule that's still kicking around for H-1Bs. Um, I could, the delays could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years. It all depends on how this administration has been able to use the court system um, and their executive agencies to their benefit.
Nipasa, you mute. Nipasa.
Uh, we had a caller calling us in, so I would just request you to please call us on the number 425-436-6335, and not on my personal number for now, since we are live. So 425-436-6335, and the access code is 988-888. So thank you so much. It'd be great if you could call us there. And for the what happened in the DC shooting, now that Afghan SIV process has been suspended, is this temporary or another multi-year freeze? What do you think?
I think it could go either way. I think it could go either way. I think of all the countries on that list right now who are should feel most threatened or should feel most anxious about their status, I would say it's those from Afghanistan, particularly because this act was perpetrated by an Afghani individual.
Thank you so much, for taking that up, Gabriella. We have a caller who has joined us in right now. Is it Shravan? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh,
This is
is
Shravan.
is the audio is the audio clear? Gabriella, can you hear her?
Yeah,
Faintly.
yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay, could you just ask the question? We will try to hear you a little. If you could be louder.
Yeah. So my question is, my amendment is important. So I wanted to bring my wife on H for 2 years. Is it any issue? Is it
So
for or
I'm so sorry. I wasn't able to.
sorry?
Actually, the line is not very clear. We are able to hear you, but it's like a little muffled. So if you could just comment, it'll be great. So sorry, Shravan, we were facing this problem earlier also when you called us. But I think Shravan's question, I have it with me. He was asking, my wife had visa complications prior related to the H-1B entry denied with issue of I 867A and sworn statement under Section 235B1. So, does this have an impact on applying for dependent visa? He wants to bring her in on an H4.
So she had an issue with her own H-1B. Her H-1B visa was denied, or her H-1B entry was denied in the past.
In only port of entry is denied due to employer legitimate issue. The only issue with employer legitimate.
There was only issue with employer legitimate, and she was denied at the port of entry.
She was denied at the port of entry. You know, I would have to know more about that particular case and her history and information pertaining to her before I'd be able to give an actual legal opinion on what to expect for her. I will say, though, that generally speaking, if an individual has no criminal history, no immigration violations in the past, and is married to, has a valid lawful marriage to an H-1B holder, she should be granted an H-4 visa as a matter of right and be readmitted to the United States automatically without issue. But, you know, one of the things the government's going to look at is the time already spent in the U.S. What is that person's particular background? Does she have a flag on her file because of what has happened at the border up until now? So you got to look at the whole picture holistically, but generally speaking, somebody should not have a problem as long as they don't have a criminal or immigration violation in their history.
Thank you so much, Gabriella, for taking that up. And Shravan, I hope you got your answer. I think it was pretty clear. But if you need to get more answers, probably your case needs more attention, and Attorney Gabriella would need more details on your case. Why not contact her directly? You can also check out the link which you can see on the screen. Check out Attorney Gabriella from Berardi Immigration Law. So thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. Okay, Shravan, I would request you to comment if you don't mind. If you could just leave us a comment or leave me a message, I could take it up because it's not very clear. I mean, on the screen, to hear your call. Thank you. All right, so back to our questions. There's so much to ask you, but I would not keep our audiences waiting as well. We have Rajendra, who has also joined us, Gabriella. He's asking, what exactly does the US want to achieve? Is the country only for elite people? Is it looking for a limited set of people? If this started happening in all countries, what would happen globally?
That's a great question. You know, the rhetoric of this administration has been clear. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem posted on Twitter, or X, excuse me, a couple of days ago, calling immigrants leeches and killers, and saying the only thing we care about is freedom, and said, we don't want you, not one of you. Okay. That is an unfortunate perspective that many individuals in this administration shared. She is the one that's running the majority of the immigration programs in the United States. So, you know, this administration has been very clear that they do not value the contributions of immigrants. They do not value the immigration system, and they are going to make it much harder. What they do value is money, though, as they've made clear by talking about things like the gold card, now supposedly the platinum card, I believe, is the other option that Trump wants to start administering. So if you have money, you could come to our country. But other than that, we're not really interested. And that's not my political opinion. That is out of the mouth of this administration themselves. It's hard to see it any other way. Although I will say that, you know, this is not the viewpoint of every administration I've seen come in. Okay. I've worked under several presidential administrations now, and I will tell you that this is not the viewpoint of the majority of the administrations I've worked for. Even Trump's own first administration wasn't this um, wasn't this serious, didn't go to the lengths that this one has gone. So, if every other country was like this, the world would not look the way that it does right now. That's for sure. And I think we can all agree that it would be to the detriment of everybody.
Thank you so much for taking that up. And Rajendra, thank you for your very interesting question. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel at Immigration Talk Show. And, if you talk about the Afghan immigrants right now, what's going to happen to the families who sold everything to pursue this process? Is their future on hold?
Their future
What
is
do we
on
have to
hold. Their future is on hold. Everything is dubious right now. And the problem is that when this administration comes in with these sweeping new changes, they drop these bombs and then leave very little information as to how they're actually going to be carried out over what period of time, leaving everybody in a frenzy. And really, I think the theme of everything they've done is to leave a lasting and chilling effect that will operate to dissuade people from wanting to either continue with their plans of living here or to come here in the first place. So for those Afghan families, my heart goes out to them after all they've done for this country. They are now left in the lurch and concerned about where they stay. And we do not know how far back the government's going to be looking if you have already received a green card. Is it going to be the first the first Trump administration? Is it going to be Biden's administration? What is the term for how far we are going to be re-reviewing? We don't know. So that leaves everybody from these countries, God bless you, specifically Afghanistan, from now being very concerned about where their future lies.
So true. It's just been so open-ended, and like you said, very less details on what is actually going to happen. So we will have to wait for more details to come in, friends. And I would say to stay updated, don't forget to stay in touch with us. Subscribe to our channel, ring that bell so that whenever we have the latest updates, you're notified. And Gabriella, like it's all buried, under an open-ended security review, right?
Mm-hmm,
Why
mm-hmm.
is this government reevaluating its own SIV vetting after 20 years? What
My
changed?
own view, it's totally because it gives them the excuse to do it over this shooting. Having an Afghan national be the one who perpetrated this act is giving them one more excuse to go after one more group of people to get them out of the country.
There you go. Truthful, honest, and friends. What do you think? You can also leave what your thoughts are in the comments below. And Gabriella, what is this new countries of concerns list? Is it different from guilt by nationality?
That is something that is also unclear, that the government has not provided more information on. And another thing that we've seen, we haven't talked yet about this call, but something that many people are concerned about is there's talk that this travel ban is going to increase to 30 countries and not just at 19. Now, remember before, the travel ban list was 13 countries where it's a no enter, depending on whether you fit the exemptions. And then the other remaining 6 were to be carefully vetted. I think that they're going for scorched earth right now, and I think they are going to start treating these 19 countries across the board with more difficulty than ever. So I'm sitting here in Buffalo, New York, which is right near the Canadian border. We already have heard multiple stories of Iranian-born Canadian citizens who are hold work visas in the U.S. coming back from Thanksgiving, traveling, trying to cross the border and being told, nope, you cannot re-enter the United States. So it's not only just where your citizenship is, but what countries you have any kind of you were born in, or maybe you have any association with, that's also going to haunt you during this time.
So true. It's more like, the reboot of the old travel ban under a different label
Totally.
now. So what matters more now, country of birth or a clean record with strong evidence?
I don't know, Nipasa. We're going to have to see how this plays out. But I think if you have, as an immigration attorney, if someone came to me and said, I'm now a Canadian citizen, but I was born somewhere else, I would say be prepared for equal treatment as if that country where you were born was your only citizenship.
So there's going to be a lot more scrutiny. I think we'll just have to be more prepared. And do you suggest people to travel right now? I mean, now that the holiday season is in, many people had their travels planned, I'm sure.
I have been telling all of my clients, unless they have a precarious situation that we talked about last time, you have an immigration violation, you have a criminal law matter, um, you know, if you've always respected the immigration laws and the criminal justice rules of the United States, I would say go take that trip, go travel. If you have any association with any of the countries on that list, I would not go anywhere right now. And I think it's very important to remind everybody that. So I'm an immigration lawyer. When the government comes down with these new directives, I have just as much information as is available online. And that's often the same for the people who sit at our borders who are trying to enforce our rules. Oftentimes, these people are given very little information. These directives that are just constantly coming down from this administration, it's hard to stay on top of them for the border. And they're often the last to know too about how each new act is going to be implemented, which can make for a much more hectic entry process if the government itself is still trying to reel and understand what the heck is going on. How do we react now to these new rules? So again, if you have anything to do with any of those 19 countries, let's just see what happens in the next few weeks, see how things go before you make any plans to travel.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that would be very important because viewers, those who had travel plans, they are still in doubt whether they should go for it or not. But I think it's almost time. But before you leave, I would also like to know, Gabriella, how common is it for USCIS to, re-review already approved green cards? Has this happened earlier?
This has never happened to any of my clients. And I have filed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of green cards over the course of my career. It's, the agency is already up to its eyeballs in work. It already is completely overwhelmed by the number of petitions and applications that it receives every day. It does not have the manpower to be making these kinds of steps to go back and review in detail the cases that already were decided. So which means that if they're either bluffing or if they are not bluffing and they are going back to re-review these cases, you can expect that all other cases who are processing in queue are going to take longer to get reviewed.
Right. Thank you so much, Gabriella, for taking that up as well. And what about the people who already have their physical green cards in hand, who have been living here for maybe decades now? What about them?
We don't know because the government has not been clear about how far back they're going to look if you're from these 19 countries. Now, I will say if you're not from one of these 19 countries and you have no association with any of these 19 countries, I would say, or if there an expanding list to 30 countries, if you have no association with those countries, I'd say you're probably going to be okay. But if you do, we're going to have to hold tight and see how this one plays out.
For sure. I think that's all we need to do right now. We need to stay hopeful, not give up, and just hope for better updates by the end of the year, this month. I That's all I can say. So, if a new ban rolls out, which visa categories would be affected? Some or all, you think?
Well, right now there's an existing rule that says that if you already have a work visa and you're from one of these countries, you're okay. You have an exemption. Um, I would imagine that same methodology would apply that if we do have an expanded travel ban list, those individuals who have work visas from those countries already will be exempted. Whether or not new applications are going to be received is probably going to be a no.
Okay. Well, we do have Fawad, and I just want to know if you have 5 minutes with us, Gabriella, or you'd have to rush.
Unfortunately, I have a meeting starting right now.
Okay.
But certainly, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly in my email, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.
Awesome, and thank you so much. But maybe you could leave us with one tip or the smartest move now, what people can do calmly or act proactively.
I would say stay informed and be very careful about your online presence. I am not recommending to anybody to go ahead and delete everything because the government will be able to see that you've done that, and that could cause any more suspicion. But just understand what your immigration history looks like, and let that inform your travel plans, your application, visa application plans, and your immigration journey a bit more.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gabriella, for your time, and I'll not hold you back any longer. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope we meet in better circumstances with better news to share with our viewers.
I, I hope so too. Okay, thank you, Nipasa. Thank you for allowing me to join.
Thank you. Have a great day, Gabriella.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. So, friends out there, that is Attorney Gabriella Agostinelli. Do check her out. She's from Berardi Immigration Law, and reach out to her. Since we could not have much time today to have her answer all of your questions. But for Vad, Christopher, and so sorry, Sid Mohan, I couldn't take up Sid Mohan's questions because they were out of the topic, So, but Fawad and the rest of you keep commenting. We would try to, send these questions and have them answered. But nevertheless, do reach out to her. And thank you so much once again. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Our handle is at Immigration Talk Show. Check us out on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram. And so sorry, Shravan, that we couldn't take more of your questions, but we will try to answer them as well. Thank you for calling again. This is it for today. You all out there have a wonderful day ahead and keep watching Immigration Talk Show. Bye for now.